Every story has a home. And for Cecilia, her story began in a place where life moved at its own pace. A place where mornings came with the sound of people waking up. Where the day began with work. Where food was often prepared outside, water came from the stream, and firewood was gathered from the nearby forest. And where children grew up, knowing that if they wanted to eat, someone had to work for it. This was Cecilia's home. This was the life she knew. And to Cecilia, it was simply life. Cecilia's parents, Catherine and Peter, did not have a modern kitchen. Their kitchen was a little more traditional. During the day, when the weather was good, cooking happened outside. 3 traditional cooking stones, some firewood, and a cooking pot. Simple, practical, and sometimes very smoky. The smoke does not always respect personal space. You can move to the left, the smoke follows. You move to the right, it follows. Suddenly, you are the one being cooked. But Catherine knew how to manage it. She could prepare a meal while somehow doing 3 other things at the same time. Mothers have a way of making one pair of hands do the work of 5. And Cecilia watched, sometimes helping, sometimes staying nearby. And sometimes she probably found a very good reason to be somewhere else. Children understand the difference between helping and being asked to help. When the rainy season came, things changed. Cooking outside was no longer convenient. So, during rainy days and at night, the family cooked inside. Their indoor kitchen was semi-modern, not luxurious, but more practical. Cecilia's family had 2 kitchens. One belonged to the sunshine, the other belonged to the rain. And somehow, both worked. Food did not always have to come from a shop. Around the homestead were fruit trees, mangoes, guavas, and oranges. When the fruits were ready, you simply picked one. No shopping list, no supermarket. Just walk outside and pick it. But when you grow up surrounded by fruit trees, you develop a serious relationship with the phrase, "Let me just take one." The fruits were not a luxury. They were simply there, ripening and waiting. And whenever they were ready, the children were ready too. Beyond the homestead was the farm. When Cecilia was not in school, she joined her parents there. There were days for school and days for farming. The soil had to be prepared, and crops had to be planted. Cecilia learned early that work was simply part of life. She worked alongside her parents, watching and learning from them. She saw how much effort it took to produce the food on their table. It taught her that nothing comes easily. Someone has to plant, someone has to work, and someone has to hope the weather cooperates. Farming has one rule. The weather is the boss. If the rain doesn't come, there is not much you can do. You want sunshine, but not too much. You want the crops to grow, but you must protect them. Farming is not for the predictable. Water did not simply come from a tap. The family had to fetch it, and the stream became a part of everyday life. Cecilia would go to the stream to collect water. Go to the stream, fetch water, carry it home, and then, eventually, go back. Water has a strange habit of disappearing. Cooking, cleaning, washing. Life uses water. A lot of it. The entire community lived this way. People helped each other, shared experiences, and worked together. On weekends, villagers gathered to go to the forest for firewood. Collecting enough was not always a job for one person. They walked together, talked, shared stories, and laughed. These simple routines created a sense of community. For Cecilia, the village was her world. She knew the paths, the farms, the stream, and exactly where the forest began. And she knew that when her mother called her, especially by her full name, she had better start heading home. Looking back, someone might think her family had very little. they didn't have luxuries, and life required hard work. But Cecilia's childhood was not empty. It was full of family, nature, friendship, laughter, and experience. Her parents were teaching lessons not found in textbooks: responsibility, patience, resilience, and gratitude. Catherine and Peter worked to make sure their children had the basics. Even when life was difficult, they kept moving. Perhaps that was the greatest lesson. You don't always need everything to keep going. You simply use what you have. Cecilia didn't know then that these ordinary days, the smell of cooking, the taste of mangoes, would one day become memories. Home was not perfect, but it was hers. It was where she was slowly becoming the person she would one day be. There was still so much more to Cecilia's story. Stay tuned for episode 6.